The time has come. We missed out on this video last year, but not this time. Today we're going to present to you our 2021 predictions. We always ask each other for a bold prediction before each race, and right off the bat, Cass, what's a bold prediction for 2021?
This may be a little bit too bold of a prediction, but I think George is going to replace Valtteri mid-season.
Oof, that's a good one. Mine is that Sergio and Max finish off with the same number of race wins.
Ooh.
Find out our other predictions right now.
Hello and welcome to our channel. We have a lot of ground to cover today. We have a few miscellaneous topics, we have the World Drivers' Championship, and then finally ending it off with the Constructors' Championship.
And of course, the fun of this channel is that there's two of us, so we're gonna most likely disagree on some points, which is gonna be especially exciting when we review this at the end of next season. Like, subscribe, you already know the deal, and let's just get straight to it.
Seeing as our channel is known for scoring and ranking the races throughout the season, of course we had to start off with the best and worst races of the 2021 season. Given the situation at large in the world, we don't really know if any races are going to get cancelled or officially postponed, so we are just basing this off of the preliminary calendar that was released. Starting off with what we think will be the best race of the season, I'm going with a little bit of a wild card. I'm saying if it goes through, it's going to be the Singapore Grand Prix. With such a tight track and the heat with the tires, and we know that tire management was a struggle for just about everyone last season, so I'm calling it. It's going to be the best race of the season.
I'm going to predict that the Canadian Grand Prix is going to be the best race next year. And for the fact that it's going to rain. That's a bold prediction, I know, but for the last 3 years, it's been sunny, scorching hot. We're due for a wet race.
On the contrary, I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to anyone because I've been quite vocal about my disdain for this track. But worst race of the season is going to be, yet again, the Spanish Grand Prix.
My prediction for the worst race of the season next year isn't going to be the ones from our top 3 list of last year. It's going to be the Russian Grand Prix in Sochi. Look, it's not an exciting track, and it seems like the races get worse year after year, so coming in with low expectations on that one. Alright, moving on now to who's going to be our driver of the season. On my side, I'm going to say Sebastian Vettel. It can't get any worse than last year, so he's going to do really good this year, I think.
Now, obviously, we can't go with a clear choice like Hamilton because we all know he's going to dominate this year too. That's why I am going with Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to be new to the team. I think with that Mercedes engine, the car is really going to suit him, and he's going to have some top performances and likely more podiums.
Now, who's going to let us down or not live up to their expectations for next season?
I know that at the end of last season, people were impressed with him, but I am saying Esteban Ocon is gonna have a disappointing season up against Fernando. Sorry, Ocon.
For me, I'm gonna go with Yuki Tsunoda. I don't think he's gonna have a bad season, but I think he's not gonna live up to everyone's expectations in his first year in Formula One. But I'm ready to see him prove me wrong.
Next up, we're gonna take a look at who we think is gonna have the most DNFs and or collisions in 2021. I don't think that my choice is going to come as a surprise to anybody paying attention to the sport, but I'm saying most DNFs is going to be Nikita Mazepin. Between the Haas occasionally being unreliable and his rather reckless driving style, I think he's a shoo-in.
Whereas for me, I'm going with Fernando Alonso. I think he's going to come into the season with a lot of confidence, and he's going to try off some moves that are a bit too risky that end up into collisions.
As for the unluckiest driver out there, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to say Mick Schumacher. I just think that Haas has too many issues to sort out. I think it's going to be a bit of a rough season for him as he typically takes a little bit more time to adjust in his first year.
I feel bad for mine. It's going to be Lance Stroll who's going to be unlucky once again this year. He's going to be carrying over the bad races that came from the 2020 season into the 2021. He might pick it back up, but overall I feel like we're going to feel sorry for him after this season.
As for most improved driver, I am putting my vote in with Latifi. I think a lot of people were underwhelmed with his rookie season, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think this year he's kind of going to come into his own and break out of his shell, probably even pick up some points.
The driver I think that's going to improve the most next season is going to be Giovinazzi. He's in his 3rd year with the Alpha team. He's going to be the underdog this season. Much like how Gasly was last year, where we saw some really good performances, I think he's going to have that impact. So that covers all the miscellaneous topics. We're now going to move on to our predictions for where everyone's going to finish in the Drivers' Championship. So starting at the bottom of the standing in P20, who's your driver?
Mazepin.
P19?
I have Mick Schumacher. I just don't think the Haas is going to be reliable enough. I think they're actually going to go backwards.
I have Nicholas Latifi in P19. I think he'll score some points, but it's just not going to be enough.
P18 is actually where I have Nicholas Latifi.
And I have Mick Schumacher.
In P17, I put Antonio Giovinazzi. No real explanation on that one. I just didn't know where to put him.
I sadly had to put George Russell in P17. I think he's going to outperform the Haas team and score some points this year, and of course be above Latifi. I just don't think the Williams package is going to be enough to get him higher up in the standings.
Meanwhile, I'm hopeful that his knowledge coming back from that short stint with Mercedes will help him move up to P16.
P16, I have Kimi. I don't think he's going to be satisfied with this year and possibly retire.
Meanwhile, I have him in P15, just because I think he's still going to perform in some races, but just not consistently.
In P15, I have Yuki Tsunoda. I think his season's going to be average. We'll see him score some points, but it won't be anything special.
I put Yuki in P14 for pretty similar reasons. I just think he'll be one slot higher.
In P14, I think we're going to see Giovinazzi, who's going to be at the top of the bottom-tiered teams.
In P13, I put Esteban Ocon. I'm sorry, I don't think he's going to have a good season. It's just a gut feeling I have.
Yeah, he's really going to have to do some risky moves to show his worth to the team, and I think that's going to hinder him, especially up against Alonso. So I've also placed Ocon as my 13th driver.
In P12, I put Pierre. It's not that I think he's going to have an underperforming season. I just think that other cars are going to progress a little bit more and maybe cause some more midfield battles. So that's why I put him there.
Pierre had a decent season last year, and I think it'll be relatively similar, so he's also my 12th driver.
And given the fact that I think there's going to be some clashes and unreliability issues, again, I put Carlos Sainz in 11th. A little bit unsure about this one.
However, I think my problems are going to be on the Renault side, and that's why I put Fernando Alonso in P11.
In P10, I put Charles because I think with the rivalry at Ferrari, I think they might collide and actually take some points away from each other, so I don't honestly see them having a great season.
In P10, sadly going to be giving it to Stroll. I think he's going to get some poor luck at some races that's going to hinder any chances he might get to accumulate lots of points.
For similar reasons, I put him in P9.
In P9, I think we're going to see Carlos Sainz here. It's just not going to be a good year with that Ferrari, seeing as it's the same chassis from last year.
I actually put Alonso in P8 just because I do think he's going to get the favoritism at Renault and probably get preferred strategy. I don't think it's going to be an amazing season, but I think he's probably going to pull out some pretty good results that'll boost him up the order.
P8, I think we're going to see Lando Norris finish off sort of towards the back of the top 10. I think there's going to be a rivalry between the teammates on the track, and Lando's going to be the one to lose out more.
For similar reasons, I put Lando in 7th. I just still think that overall the car is going to perform a little bit better this year and scoop up some extra points.
For P7, I think Charles is going to finish off here. He finished P8 last year. I think it will be a bit better of a season for Ferrari, but not any higher than this. As it turns out, when we looked at each other's lists, our top 6 is actually all identical.
For P6, this may come as a bit of a shock to people, but I think Vettel is going to start making a comeback. I think he's going to regain his confidence in that new car. I see him having a great season. I mean, he is a 4-time champion after all.
I wouldn't be even surprised if we see him win a race this season.
Coming in at P5, we have Daniel Ricciardo for best of the rest. I think the McLaren's going to suit him. He's such a consistent driver. I'm calling it. It's going to be a great season for him.
In 4th place, we think we're going to see Sergio Perez. He had a great season last year, and with the powerful Red Bull car, we think he's going to finish off here.
I also think he's going to put up a bigger fight to Max than people believe. They might steal some podiums away from each other, maybe even some wins. In 3rd place, we are predicting Valtteri. It just seems like some bad luck follows him around. I think he's going to have a few random DNFs through no fault of his own and just not going to be the best season for him. Of course, with my bold prediction of him getting replaced mid-season, I might be way off in either sense, but makes sense.
Of course, that only leaves Max and Lewis to take the championship. We think Max is only going to finish in 2nd place. He will bring the fight to Bottas, much like how he was doing at the end of last season. It came pretty close, and this year, with a few less DNFs, hopefully, he'll take 2nd place.
And of course, although he has not officially signed his contract yet, if he does, we're predicting Hamilton will win the championship. It just seems like he is on another level in these recent years. Mercedes are going nowhere but up. He seems like a shoo-in to win the championship yet again.
So that's how we think the Drivers' Championship is going to finish off. A few bold predictions, but hey, we're ready to see what's going to happen.
Moving on now to our Constructors Championship. Obviously, this is impacted by how we scored the drivers. We both think that Haas will be at the bottom in 10th. With 2 rookies, an unreliable car, I just don't see much happening for them in 2021.
Which means we think Williams will not finish off in 10th place, and in fact, finish off in 9th. It's going to be a better season. They're going to finish on a high. We're excited to see those points get scored at Williams.
With them furthering their technical partnership with Mercedes and George bringing some new knowledge into the team, I think this is going to be the beginning of their comeback. As for Alfa Romeo, we see them having a pretty similar season. 8th once again. There's not much to say here.
Moving forward, we think AlphaTauri is going to finish in P7. Similar to this season, they're going to be sort of at the back of the midfield teams.
I think they're going to close the gap a little bit, but not enough to overtake the team in front. Maybe a slightly more controversial take here, but we think that Renault is going to move a little bit further back down to 6th place in the Constructors' Championship. With us predicting that Esteban is not going to have a great season and the teammate rivalry between the two, I think it's going to be tricky for them to navigate, despite the fact that they've promised a better car this year. Here's where our predictions change ever so slightly. I am predicting that Ferrari will end off in 5th place, and Aston Martin Racing will stay steady in 4th.
Whereas I think the contrary. I think Aston Martin Racing is going to finish off in 5th place. Vettel's going to bring most of the points, but with Stroll's possible bad luck, I think it's not going to be enough to pass Ferrari, who's going to finish off 4th.
We both have the same 3 top results, and honestly, I don't think they come much as a shock to anyone. We've predicted McLaren in 3rd, building off the strength that we've seen so far with 2 pretty consistent drivers.
We think Red Bull's going to finish once again in 2nd place. Although they'll bridge the gap slightly to Mercedes, it just won't be enough.
Obviously, this means we think that Mercedes will win another Constructors' Championship, making it 7 in a row for them. Although DAS is being removed, I don't think we're going to see any true competition until maybe the 2022 regulations, but we'll just have to wait and see.
And there you have it. Those are all our predictions for the 2021 season. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of them.
Do you think we've nailed this? Are these super accurate, or are we way off?
We'll have to find out by the end of this season, and we hope to see you there as well. Whose predictions are going to come closest, and who will end up with the bragging rights at the end of this season?
As per usual, make sure to follow us on social media. Keep the conversation rolling. We want to know what you think.
If you haven't checked out this video, be sure to do so right now. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Bye.